Hi everyone, this is Dan with ThoroughCare. We recently did a webinar on the CMS 2024 final rule for the physician fee schedule. This webinar talked about all the things that will be coming out in January 2024, the good and the bad, and the changes that you need to be aware of. I hope you enjoy some of our takeaways from this webinar. But let's talk about what it looks like for 2024. So why are we doing this webinar? Well, it was the release of this document. And for those of you who aren't familiar, this happens every year. It's usually in early November. This year, it was issued on November 2nd. And it's CMS telling us everything that goes into effect for the physician fee schedule as of January 1st. This document, in and of itself, is 2,709 pages. We're doing this webinar so you don't have to read it. Ahead of this publication in November, earlier in the year, and it usually happens in July, I think this year it was in July, CMS issues their proposals of what they plan on doing, and they always ask for feedback. And they give 60 days of open comments, and we would always encourage you to reach out. I believe CMS said this year they got over 20,000 comments to the rule that was proposed in July. So that's a great thing. We encourage everyone on the call to be active. All right. So what are the big changes? Well, there's one right off the top that's not incredibly good, and it affects your rates for 2024. So there's a value called the conversion factor that is used in the formula for determining the fee-for-service rates. It is going down in 2024. And I put the trend here just so you could see it's actually gone down several of the last few years. It was $34.61, then $33.89. Well, next year it's going to be $32.74. So this is going to mean a decrease of about 3.4% on the conversion factor. I will say that in previous years, it is not unprecedented for Congress to step in and pass some legislation to either reduce that or eliminate that change. It has happened in the past, so there is a possibility that this could happen as well. However, if you're planning for 2024, I would encourage you to assume that the rates will be 3.4% lower in the conversion rate. Now, that doesn't mean the entire rate will be 3.4%. Why this matters is that this is the crazy formula that's used to calculate payment. It uses work RVUs, different types of RVUs, and then the conversion factors here at the end. So all of this calculation in the middle is multiplied by the conversion factor. So obviously, if you multiply it by a smaller number, well, your rate's going to be slightly lower. So how much lower? Well, let's take a look. So on this screen here, this is what chronic care management looks like. The average reimbursement for CCM that we expect in 2024 will be about $61.57. And I asked our team to put the column comparing it to 2023 to see what the change was. So look, for CCM, you're probably $1 less, if you want to be exact, $1.12. As I mentioned earlier, look up your own rate. It may be different in your area. So look, not major rate changes. Do we wish that the change goes up instead of down? Of course, but nothing here is too drastic in our opinion. If you look at this, it's about $1 to $3 across the board. This GO511, this is probably the most significant. It's down about $6. However, there's enough good things to GO511 that we're not even worried about this, and I'll talk about that in a second. AWV, this is a very high-paying reimbursement. So look, on $166, yeah, you're going to be $3 less. It's coming in about $163, $162, $128. So look, all things considered, it's a small decrease, but it is something you need to be aware of if you do these programs. We're really excited about this. I don't know if you guys noticed this good one down here. Behavioral health up about $11. So if you've always consider doing behavioral health and you haven't, well, this would be the great year to do it because this one went up about $11. Here's a few more. Principal care management, just like CCM, again, nothing too major, down 12 cents. All right, we could probably live with that one. Remote patient monitoring, and RTM, by the way, has the same rates as RPM. So look, across the board, not too much. The device code, the 16 days of readings code, is probably the most significant change, down about $3.65. So everything else, somewhat minor. TCM, again, for a $200 reimbursement, $275, it's down about $2 to $3. So that's kind of how you could anticipate this. But overall, like I said, our feedback is that it definitely could have been worse. One day I'd like to do this presentation and tell you how they all went up. Unfortunately, that will not be for 2024. I did mention look up your own rates. If any of you have never used the physician fee schedule search, it's incredibly easy. Look up the rates in your own area. You just enter the year, the code that you want to look up, and then your local MAC or your local geographic area, and it'll give you the exact rates in your area. Now, I did this morning just to see if I could see the 2024. The physician fee schedule search does not have 2024 yet. We are assuming that on January 1st, 2024 will be an option in the list. So program changes. What stayed the same? What's different? Well, no major significant changes. Chronic care management. And that's a good thing in our opinion. Sometimes a lot of uncertainty makes groups want to do less of these programs. Chronic care, principal care, transitional care, behavioral health, chronic pain management, no major changes. Some of the programs that do have changes, annual wellness visits has a very good add-on this year. Remote patient monitoring, a few clarifications. Remote therapeutic monitoring, a few small things, and then general care management. For those of you who are RHCs and FQHCs, a significant change for you guys.
If you'd like more information about the 2024 physician fee schedule, please see the links below. If you found this video to be helpful, please like it below and subscribe to our channel so that you get all of our updates. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.